Trying something new, are we?
Yeah, going to be a little bit fancy.
A little bit fancy. Welcome back to a new podcast and parallel video happening at the same time.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit. We're multitasking at the moment.
Well, because it's hard to post stuff on Instagram.
Exactly. So we need a little bit more content and things like that. And this is what day 2 of lockdown does. Is it really imbues the creativity. Creativity is going to be real.
Can't believe it's day 2.
Only day 2.
To be fair, we have been
we've
here
been in lockdown.
like pretty much
8 days now.
the same as lockdown rules for ourselves. Yeah.
Since Wednesday last week.
8 days. No, 9, 10 days now.
Yeah.
But I think I had a little bit of a break. I made a run to Komiki for a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Crazy. Anyway.
So today's podcast.
Yeah, today's podcast. Shanti, you got a much better grasp of explaining this, so just explain it.
Well, to be fair, I came across it today in first person, and then I let Luke know about it afterwards. But we've talked about him before. He's a Slovenian philosopher, psychoanalyst, who speaks a lot. He's becoming more and more well renowned. We actually shared an interview of his on the Philo Talks Facebook page a while ago, about a week ago. He had a certain perspective on how coronavirus is going to change the world, or like the opportunities we have to restructure the way we look at society and basically work together, and ideas of unity, that type of thing. Anyway, I came across a older recording that someone had shared on Instagram, and the crux of what he's saying in the recording is super interesting, and it speaks to a lot of things that can come up, or basically it can move into like so many things in modern society. So what he says in a nutshell, and I'm paraphrasing, is there exist beliefs that can function without anyone believing them to be true, basically. So the example he made was, ironically, and this was a few years ago, a toilet paper example, but obviously super pertinent to here and now. There's been toilet paper shortages throughout the West and even in other parts of the world. And the idea is that there may be no one that believes, we may all believe that there's enough toilet paper for everyone, but because we're worried that not everyone knows that there's enough toilet paper for everyone, we still go to the shop and overbuy. And as a result, we create a shortage of toilet paper because we disrupt the supply chain, and there ends up not being enough toilet paper for everyone because some people have hoarded. So a belief that we all knew to be not true, i.e. that there's not enough toilet paper for everyone. The fact is there is, and we all knew that, but we were worried other people didn't know that, and we made it true that there wasn't enough toilet paper for everyone by not believing something. Yeah, it's bizarre.
So panic buying toilet paper in this instance isn't logical, because if you assume everyone consumes toilet paper at the same rate, it doesn't make any sense for there to be any shortage of toilet paper.
Right.
Because we've always had, if not an oversupply of toilet paper. You know, so it's an example of an idea that. But no, this is the issue that I have with this thing, is that because people don't believe it to be true, the issue that this comes down to very simple fact is that the reason people panic buy is because they don't believe there's going to be enough toilet paper, even though that's not logical. Because of course there's going to be enough toilet paper. Why wouldn't it be? That makes sense. But then in their head they're like, oh no, everything's collapsed, and the one thing that's going to go missing is toilet paper. You know, and so it's very much just an example of like crowd mentality, of the same thing of like, I'm particularly uncomfortable in large crowds of people, because like as a kid my dad once told me a story of like, oh my word, if you're ever in a massive stadium, people rush out, you're going to get trampled to death. You know, not really logical.
Yeah, I also got told stuff like that.
You know, exactly. And it's like this weird kind of thing of, it doesn't make any sense outside of the situation where it happens. You know, and that's similar to the toilet thing, is that these are not silly people buying toilet paper. Everyone's like, no, the best solution to the problem is to buy toilet paper, you know, and then thereby creating a non-existent threat to become to like exist, which is basically then just like a miseducation thing, or a lack of education.
It's not even education.
It's misinformation.
It's a misthought.
Misthought, yeah.
It's just a moment of where your thought process is incorrect.
But what's interesting is how infectious that is.
Yeah.
Is how easily a misthought is then
so I think
spread.
You were making a point at the beginning there saying, like, although, okay, this is a scenario in life, because he speaks to it's a general thing that, like, we can create these situations. We can make things, like the title of what you said. We can make things true even by not believing them, by, like, acting on it. So, like, acting to act as opposed to acting on something you believe to be true. But the point that you brought up in this specific scenario is, yes, there were definitely people who believed we would run out of toilet paper. However stupid or illogical that is, those people did exist. That's true. And that contributed, that made what was happening worse. So there were people who knew that there wasn't toilet paper shortage that went and bought a whole lot of toilet paper. And then there were people who were genuinely worried that there was a toilet paper shortage for whatever dumb reason
there must be some law of economics that governs. Like, this seems like a very economical. I'm just spitballing right now, but I'm pretty sure. Like, listen, guys, if any of you know what this term is in economics, but it seems like quite a logical thing of mass, because it's the same thing with stock prices.
It's I think it is.
Or am I going off on a tangent at this point? Because I feel like it's conceptually it's the same thing.
You're connecting it to what happened with the bond market.
But not only that, like, you can connect it to a lot of things. Like, it's similar to like a revolution.
But that's what we're talking about.
It's a cascading effect of human feelings.
It's like you said, is infectious. So you basing your actions on what you think other people believe. So you're basing things on something you cannot know to be true.
Yes.
So we do that all the time.
That makes sense.
Absolutely. We do it all the time with everything. So that's why this is such an interesting thing, and we can actually start drawing connections to a whole lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
Because we do that all the time. It's like,
but this isn't necessarily like now that we've made that connection, this isn't necessarily always a bad thing, because on the reverse side of this is that we all believe money to have value, and therefore money has value. But you understand what I'm trying to say? Am I going way too far off on a tangent?
No, continue with what you say.
So money as a concept exists out. Money as a thing has no value. It's like gold. Right. Gold is a pretty useless thing in general. Like, there's nothing value.
Just use paper notes.
Just paper notes. Paper notes are pretty useless. There's nothing you can do. But we all agree that this paper note denotes a value,
right? And
therefore we agree that we'll transfer things according to this paper note. But it only works because we all believe it works.
Yeah.
If we disagreed on the fact that paper doesn't actually have value, then the whole system would fall apart.
Yeah.
You know? So it's basically, is it not groupthink in that sense then?
I think that the difference that's true about how money works.
Yeah.
I think it's different concept to this, because this is like we know something. Okay, there is enough toilet paper.
Okay,
I would
dispute that fact. I feel like that's the whole point of this, is that people, if we were to ask someone who did panic buy, do you believe that there's enough toilet paper in the world? They'd be like, no.
No, I think that would be the immediate response. But if you actually got down to it, not discussed it, just we're like, no, but like, if you think about the market in South Africa, okay, do you believe that there's a toilet paper shortage? And what reason do you have to believe that? They'd be like,
but I think
there'd be no answer to that.
But then I think also the other side, playing the reverse side of it, is that they were like, it's not the fact that there isn't enough toilet paper in this moment right now. It's, I don't know if there's going to be enough toilet paper in 2 weeks from now when I'm going to need it. You know. But then I think the interesting thing is, then why did you buy enough toilet paper for 3 years? Because it wasn't the fact that people bought enough toilet paper for maybe 3 months. You know. Like, it was like, I'm buying enough toilet paper for a year.
I mean, generally, you'd buy. I don't buy toilet paper more than once a month.
No.
I buy for a month.
Yeah.
So you do buy in advance.
I'm trying to think, you do buy in advance, but you don't buy 3 years, because that's the thing, is that's the argument, is then it becomes like, oh,
yeah, but we're talking very much about, let's get into the actual concepts here, because we're talking a lot about toilet paper, unfortunately, and I'm so bored of the toilet paper discussion because it's just really annoying. But it's a good example to start off with, because I think most people experience that. But like, I think the interesting place where it takes us though is that idea that we act as opposed to act on things we believe to be true. So our actions often aren't governed by things we believe to be true even. They're governed by other people's actions, other people's intentions, general, like, we let society and norms and conventions control our actions, as opposed to even, like, we may even have a clear thought of knowing something's true, but we may not let that affect our actions whatsoever, which is bizarre, right? I think that's the super interesting thing that comes out of this, is like, why are we so caught up with what everyone else is doing?
So it's not even about your individual belief, it's about your belief of what other people are believing.
Yeah.
It's got nothing to do with your own thoughts. It's that I'm trying to think of other examples besides the toilet paper.
Well, can I do a reverse example where the outcome is positive?
Okay, yes.
Okay. So, where I found this post today, it was shared by an Indian guy. Let me get his name here. You guys can follow him. He has some pretty interesting posts. karanv.eer on Instagram. That's KARANV.EER. Anyway, he was the one who shared the post. Have to give him creds. And he wrote a whole piece on, inspired by what Slavoj Zizek was saying. And basically he made an interesting example of something that actually happened in India, in the northern parts of India at least, during this crisis, was the exact opposite. So people were concerned that, in the same way they were concerned that everyone was concerned that other people would stockpile like rice, right? And like buy too much rice. So on the opposite end, instead of placing themselves at the center of the universe, a lot of people were like, I'm worried people are going to buy too much rice, so I'm going to buy less so that it doesn't run out. So everyone bought less than they would normally buy, which meant there was a surplus of rice left over, which meant that you could always go back and buy more rice.
It's so, like, I know, like, it
so
makes
that's
sense.
weird to us, right?
So weird. So
that's just a big cultural difference. But the same functions at play.
Yes.
They still let the worry of other people's actions govern what they did, as opposed to, they knew there was enough rice for everyone, but they didn't trust that people would allow there to be enough rice for everyone. You know, they thought people would be so greedy, crazy. So they acted in a way that to make sure that didn't happen. And it's exactly the same thing, but opposite result. You know.
Oh, I mean that speaks volumes to like societal norms and cultures. And when Shanti first mentioned this to me, I said something. I was like, oh well, that's a good example of showing us that morals are entirely cultural based, and it's got nothing to do with the individual. Because at the end, you make decisions on how you believe everyone else is going to make a decision.
I think that we often let our ethics be governed by what other people are going to do.
Yeah.
You know?
It's very interesting. So those are two examples of it happening. And so it's basically there's just concepts can exist. In our minds, we can invent concepts in other people's minds.
Yeah.
You know, because there's no way to know what other people think. We can only imagine what they would think according to our own frame of reference. Because then it comes back to the thing is that it is kind of us projecting ourselves onto other people. And I think that probably speaks volumes into the Western culture that we're so individualistic that the immediate reaction was, okay, cool, I need to get as much as I can right now.
Yeah.
Because someone else is going to take mine.
Yeah.
It's probably not very healthy.
So, bringing us to that, we can call it a westernized culture, that egoistic way of thought.
Yeah.
It's interesting because it's drilled into us at least us who grow up in Western cultures, and in South Africa we're very Westernized, I'd say, in general. And we believe that we get taught that human nature is egoistic. We are naturally egoistic, and even the most egalitarian views on the world, generally from a Western perspective, say that human nature is self-interested. We self-interested. We're always going to act in that way. There's no way to combat that feeling, right? So that's drilled into us from a young age. And the interesting thing is the examples that this guy Karan brought up was that we often, when we placed in pressure scenarios, we notice how people don't act like that at all. He made an example, a fictional example, from the movie The Dark Knight Rises, where the Joker has those two boats, and the one's got civilians, the other one's got criminals, and they've both got buttons to basically blow the other one's boat up. And there's a lot of discussion on the civilian one, we should blow up the criminals because they deserve to be blown up. But then there's other people arguing, no, that's not fair, they're already paying for what they've done. And then on the criminal's side, one of the criminals, takes the button and he throws it overboard or something. Very unclear exactly what happened in the movie. But the point is, in the end, no one presses the button because they all end up choosing everyone else as opposed to their individual thing. So they make that different choice, Yeah, and I think that happens. I think it happens in real life as well.
Yeah, it's like is the human actually self-sacrificing normally? Like,
is the human self-sacrificing or self-interested?
Self-sacrificing.
Oh, you're saying are we actually
well, it's the same question. You can ask it either way. You can be like, are we actually self-interested, or are we taught to be self-interested, or actually we are naturally self-sacrificing? And the thing is that I think we are, and I think this is probably an interesting way of looking at it, is that we are self-sacrificing in the Western culture with people we can see it directly, who directly affects. So, explain, like, I'm self-sacrificing in my core group of friends and my family. All right? I'm not speaking for everyone, I'm speaking for myself. I say, okay, cool, but someone I never meet, Jim from the Ukraine, not particularly self-sacrificing for Jim, don't know Jim.
Interesting name for a Ukrainian. But yeah.
He's random guy.
Yeah.
Random guy. And so, like, the thing is, I think in the Western cultures that we're taught to be self-sacrificing inside of a family unit, or like a close social knit thing. And I think that's the main difference between East and West, is the East is quite holistic,
or just non-Western culture.
Yeah. True. Is just that it's very much everyone's, like, we're all in this together. That's kind of, maybe, like, you could say it's Buddhist and stuff like that, I guess. But I think it's interesting that this example, the Joker thing, came from a very Western.
Yeah, because it challenges our idea of the self, you know, and that's what any good art piece will do. It will ask questions of things we think are natural, you know. But I think it's a good question for us all to ask ourselves, because you said something to me when we discussed this example earlier. You're like, well, is it bad that, like, I would press the button?
Yeah.
And I didn't argue with you because, like, I don't know. Maybe I would press the button. But my question, and it's to myself as well, is, would you, though? Like, in the actual situation, if you're confronted with you having a finger on people's lives, where you have to, and I always say, yes, I choose myself above everyone else. I do say that. Like, I've been known to say that. Yeah. But my question is an interesting question. Like, would I actually in that scenario, or am I just taught that that's what I would do?
You know, but then now, this might be another step. But is that any different from us staying indoors now during coronavirus?
Yeah.
The fact that we have the opportunity to go outside.
Yeah.
I mean, well, not really, but, like, my point is that we could just go outside and, like, cough at people. You know.
Right.
We don't know whether we have coronavirus, but we could.
Yeah.
All right. But we're self-sacrificing now. And even on social media and Instagram, everyone's going through the same thing. We're all like, don't go outside, stay together. It's not about you, it's about other people.
Yeah.
Is that not a similar example?
Yeah.
To the thing of, we're immediately giving up our own self-satisfaction at this point to collectively help everyone else.
Yes.
You know?
This is, I'm so glad you brought it up.
Yeah.
This is precisely because I was speaking like, you know, like if we were actually if we put ourselves in that scenario where we're on the boat, hey, we're in one. We're literally in a global crisis right now, right? And the overwhelming answer is,
everyone do your part.
We're all going to do our part. Like, that's the overwhelming, yes, there's people who aren't like that, like America. But like, and even though the governmental structures in America are maybe not doing the right things.
On the ground, people are.
Exactly. Like all the Americans I have on social media and stuff, or follow, whatever, it's the same. There's a global feeling that we're going to work together. There's unity in fighting this thing. And it just shows you, like you're absolutely right. Like people like you, me, the rest of us that are young, healthy, like we've been told over and over again. In fact, it's been drilled into us. You're not going to die from this thing. It's not going to kill you. You're most likely going to be fine.
Quickly, fake news, potentially it can. All right, we're just doing this as a conceptual argument at this point.
Sure. It can. A flu can kill anyone. Okay. The point is that it's been, whether it's true or not, it's been drilled into us. It's something we now believe as young, fit, healthy people. Oh, we're not going to die. We're fine. Okay, so we comforted ourselves. But knowing that, if we were really super self-interested, we could carry on running our businesses and going to the shops and living our lives and stuff. You know, but the point, and I keep coming back to Slavoj, but he made in that interview we shared was that, like, that's the choice we've been asked to make. Like, what type of animal are we? Are we just an evolutionary ape? Or is there something more spiritual about us that wants to be a part of something bigger? You know, something that really draws us together. Something where we're able to do something for the good of everyone else, even if it hurts ourselves. And it seems like the answer is yes. You know, now that we've actually been put in this like bizarre, unprecedented scenario, it seems like people are choosing that.
And you know the thing is, it's only working because of this concept of the fact that we believe everyone else feels the same way we do.
Yeah, we trust in.
Yeah, exactly.
We trust in
which is this. We all believe that it's better for us to stay inside. So we're all going to stay inside, you know? So then it's like social conform at some level. But the point is that it's the thing is that we make this belief of it's necessary for us to stay inside true, you know? And even though it isn't necessary for us to stay inside, the idea is that I know that all of my friends are staying inside. So I'm not going to be the guy that's going to go outside and do anything.
Yeah, we've created a new social norm. Like it's socially normal to stay inside right now in this scenario.
I got shouted at someone. I went to the shops and I told her, I was like, I went to the shops, it was great, I'm not sick. She's like, but someone else could be. And I was like, oh no, I was kidding. I was like, no, I feel fine. My point was that I went to the shops, came back, it was great, Pick and Pay's doing a fantastic job, hand sanitizer everywhere, glad I'm not sick. You know, and her immediate reaction was, but don't think about yourself, think about everyone else. And I was like, I get it. I get that. That's not what I was trying to say.
You were joking, but
you know.
But we're policing each other, and in this scenario, it's great. Coming to maybe something we can end off on is that exact thing that like we like self-police each other socially, right? So like when it comes to social media and like online presence and stuff like that, we get fed all this information, you know, like people are doing stuff. Literally, you're like, oh, do it for the gram, do it for this and that, do it for the clout. Like we're doing stuff, we're doing actions for actions. We're not doing them because we want to do them, you know, like people aren't posting like pictures of their actual lives. You know, people aren't posting things that they actually do. I think
that's changing.
It's changing. Interestingly enough, it is like.
And you know what it is. I think. Okay, now this is probably something. If I get too much into it, I'm not going to. So I'll just say it quickly. Is that the thing is that what we're seeing is that the generation that grew up with the internet is now maturing. The millennials are now in a stage where now you're 25. You don't really care about what other people think. So now you're starting to post things that you just like. I'm like, oh, I like this, I'm going to post it because I don't really care what other people think, getting married. So now we're seeing a transition from purely teenage, I care what my peers think, to now I'm like, listen, 25, 20, don't really care, I'm just going to post whatever I want.
Yeah.
And so now we're just seeing the internet mature. So I think what it actually is that social media is just a litmus test. A litmus test? What is it? Litmus test for age. And we just I think that's the way I'm thinking about it. But
that's a slightly sadder way than I would. Well, not sad, but just less inspirational. To rather believe than that like society's changing and
no, because it's humans are humans. We're learning to use a new tool that was presented to us, and the generation that was using it was super young, and so we saw all the young annoying content, and now we're seeing normal content because everyone who can use it is like, I'm kind of over it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
I'm not convinced.
Okay, well, the other day you were loving the Instagram things.
Yeah.
Is that not because now the comedians of your generation are now confident enough to post on Instagram?
No.
Don't you think so?
No, I think a lot of the shit I was watching was probably posted by 17-year-olds.
Exactly, but the thing is that now they're conditioned because they're used to seeing the people they look up to are posting content that they feel is funny. And so now they're like, okay, cool, we can post stuff like this. But definitely a topic for another time.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely interesting. We've definitely branched off now.
I think just to finish off on why I thought Instagram is golden at the moment. Like, there's just so much good shit. Yeah. Is because we all have fuck all to do.
Yeah, that too.
And a cool thing about it came up the other day, and this is obviously it's a crisis.
Yeah.
We privileged people sitting at home,
literally,
with enough money to survive this type of thing.
With internet, electricity, running water,
food, etc., etc. So for people like us, it's not that bad. It's an opportunity to be creative. Oh yeah, life's so good and stuff.
Work on the goals you always wanted.
So like being very aware of that.
Yeah.
It is an opportunity for people in our privileged situations to be creative.
Yeah.
Whether that's making fucking memes or TikToks or whatever.
Yeah.
Like
podcasts, YouTube.
Or podcasts or whatever. It's an opportunity to express creativity that you don't really have the time to do in. I'm
honestly, boredom forces creativity. Another podcast we should do is the fact that with more time we have more creative content, but we'll chat about that later. Cool. Okay. Awesome. Definitely branched off a little bit at the end there. But we're right under 30 minutes. Yeah, we're right where we wanted to be. Hope that was useful. Hope you guys are having a good time. In lockdown. I'm pretty sure the whole planet's in lockdown at this point, except for America.
They're like in self-lockdown. The government's like, do whatever you want. They're like,
we're gonna lock down.
We're gonna stay at home.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So otherwise, keep well, stay safe, stay healthy, and enjoy. We'll be making a podcast soon again. I think we've just discovered a lot of stuff that we want to chat about.
Yeah.
So sick.
Take it easy.
Yeah.